Good morning, Predicted Trades family. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see, we'll have a little review of last week. All right. So last week on Monday, we rejected the daily 50, slipped down to this 38.07, and pushed off of it for Tuesday and Wednesday, back up to the daily 50, daily 8, and then another rejection on some of our econ data last week. That sent us down for a new low during the cash session, a little bit below 38.07. We got down to this 37.88, kind of halfway between our key levels. And then on Friday, we had a little slip early in the morning to come back and test this zone where we bounced and pushed up from on Tuesday. We fought back above it on Thursday, and so on Friday that was the support right at the bottom of our squeezes. That's where we went long up to the next zone that was kind of resistance. We had a little gap up in futures last night, but we can see that that gap is now coming back, and we're actually arriving right back near the highs from Friday. So I'm going to be opening right near there. I'm going to extend this little shaded region that kind of overlaps this 38.55. Basically, for today, we want to watch Friday's high to see if we can hold there. If not, then we're going to come back and test this zone. But if we can hold here, could catch a nice bounce back through 38.78, and then up to test the daily 8 at 38.90, and the daily 50 just above 3900. We do have the daily 21 and daily 15 now arriving at that big key level 3922. So a lot of targets to the upside. There we go. POC is down near 38.58, so it might be a quick dip to POC and then bounce back up. If we start to lose that 38.55, then we're right back down into last week's range. Let's take a quick look at our economic calendar. This week we had a little bit at 8:30 that started this whole drop that we're seeing. We have a little more at 9 a.m., so in about 10 minutes. Tomorrow was just some pending home sales. Thursday our jobless claims, and Friday some PMI right after the bell. And then we'll be moving into the new year, where it looks like January 4th, the first Wednesday of the year, is where we'll have some FOMC minutes. Some jobs data, some PMI, and non-farm payroll. So it looks like next week we have plenty going on to keep an eye on. Another short week with Monday holiday. So for today, we're pretty much in this wedge and in between key levels. Let's see if we're going to hold near Friday's high, basically this 38.70. We could hold there and start to reverse back up. We do want to keep in mind that we're starting the day with a downtrend going into open. So we don't want to fight that downtrend until it starts to, prove that it's breaking over. MA is gaining support and starting to pick up to the upside. Overall, looking for us to get up to test this 3900 during the cash session, this daily 50, and maybe even push to the daily 21 up at 3922. But if we have lack of buyers and more aggressive sellers, then likely coming down to test 38.55, this 38.43, and the shaded zone of support around 38.30. Let's move on to NQ. And I will, I think I'm going to just blaze through the big key names today. I'm not going to hit every name since we got a little bit of a later start. Alright, so in Q. Basically today, it's can we hold 11,000 if we do continue this slip down. Looking for us to hold near 11,000 near the bottom of this 2-hour squeeze, near the trend line from the lows of last week. And as long as we can hold up at 11,000 or above, looking for it to try to get back up to 11,200 at the top of the 2-hour squeeze and to this daily 8. Past that, looking to try to get back to the highs from last week. And the daily 21 sitting up around 11,450. We've got the daily 21, 15, and 50. All there from, in between 11,400 and 11,500. So that's the key target to recover back to on any upside this week. So ready, pulling down to test this zone, which was resistance, and was resistance, so let's see if it can become support. So let's see if we can hold around this 1775 or 1770 zone and catch a bounce to try to get back up to pre-market high, and the daily 15, daily 21 sitting up above at the top of a 4-hour squeeze. But if we start to lose that 1770 and this 1767 and a half, then probably going to revisit 1755, 1750, and maybe even last week's lows around 1730 and 35. YM. The only index that did arrive back at the daily 21 pretty much last week and overnight. Now we are pinned between the daily 15, the 21, and the daily 8. Let's see if YM can hold that daily 8 this morning and try to push back up above the daily 21 and this 33,500. But if we start to lose the daily 8 around that 33,400, then we can expect to slip back to this zone at 33,300 and maybe even the daily 50 down at 33,100. All right, Apple. Last week we spent a lot of time bouncing between 131 back to 130, our zone here at 132.6, 133, and even up to our target at 136. So, likely going to engage these same key levels this week on Apple. Would love to see today it hold this 131 and push back up to this zone above, up at the top of this hourly squeeze. If we start to lose that 131, coming to retest last week's lows, near this 129.64, and I do have that zone down below, 128.5, 129, as the target if we start to slip out the bottom or slip under this 130. But if we can hold 131, looking to get back up to this zone, and maybe even push further, back to 135 where the daily 8 sits, and 136 where we pretty much topped out last week. AMD. What was it? MU reported last week. Didn't really have much effect for chips, but after Thursday's drop, steadily climbing. Let's see if we can hold 64. If not, coming back to 63, 62. But if we can hold 64, looking for it to get up to 65 and a half. 66, daily 8, daily 50, daily 21 up at 68. Oh, excuse me. Amazon on a nice little climb. See if it can hold trend line from the lows. So basically see if we can hold above 84, 85 today. If so, trying to continue this push up to 86.5 where the daily 8 is, daily 15 at 88, daily 21, pretty much at 90. And our key level at 91. So those are your upside targets. If we start to lose 85, 84, then coming back to test last week's lows and maybe get down to this 81.3 in the bottom of this 2-day squeeze. Google. Fought back up to this zone around 89, 89 and a half. Let's see if we can hold this zone early and try to push off of it back above 90 where the daily 8 sits, daily 21 up near 92 and a half. If we start to lose this zone, then back to 88, 87, and maybe our zone below, which spans from about 86 down to 85. GS. Yeah, pretty strong base has been set in here. Let's see if we can hold at 343 and try to push back up to 350. Today, starts to lose at 343. We're at second Keltner, so if we slip below and keep going and take out last week's low, then it's down to third Keltner near 335. Meta. Such a messy name. So let's see if we can hold. We have all of our daily moving averages stacked in together. Let's see if we can hold the daily 15, daily 8 around this 117 to try to push back up to 120 with the goal of getting to 123 where we kind of topped out. If we start to lose that daily 8, daily 15, coming back to the mean 116 and a half. And this trend line from the lows of last week near 115 at the bottom of a 2-hour and a 4-hour squeeze. And, should we start to give that out, daily 50 and this 113 and a half, 114 level. Microsoft. We're basically pinned between this 240, 241 above, this 232 below. We did not quite get down to hit it last week. So if market is weak and we see Microsoft slipping, it might try to get down to the lows of last week and this 232. But if we can hold up, even where we bounced midday around this 237 and a half, looking to get back up above the daily 50 at 241 and back to the daily mean up at 244. Our daily 200 sits up where we last topped out around that 265. So let's see if we can start to climb back, coming off of this daily squeeze bottom. Netflix. Netflix was nice and tight at the end of last week. But holding up well, with this daily 50, daily 21, is basically pinned between them. So if we can clear 298, 300, looking to go back to 307, 310 above. If we start to slip, then we're going to come back to 290, the daily 50 at 288. Should we start to give that out, then we're going to test 285, 280, last week's low. Video. Fell down to the daily 50 and settling there. Right near this 150, we have a key level below 147.27, so if we can't hold 150, going to that key level to try to settle. We also have the second Keltner down there, but if we can hold 150, looking to get back above 155, try to push to 161, 162, where the daily 8, daily 21 sit. QQQ. Let's watch trend line from the lows. On QQQ, it's all about 265 today. We can stay above 265, maybe catch a bounce, and get back up to 270. POC sits up at 273, just above this daily 8, and back near the highs from last week. So let's see if we can hold 265, get back above 270. Overall goal, we've got the daily 21 up near this 280, 277.5. So those are the upside targets to try to fight back to this week. But if we start to lose this trend line and 265, then we're coming to test last week's low, 262.5, and 260 at the bottom of a 2-day squeeze. SPX. Let's see, on SPY today, let's extend our zones from last week that we drew during prep. There we go. So, let's see if we can hold 282, 281.5. If we do slip down there, we're trying to hold 383 now. But if we give 383 out, 382, 381.5, should that give out 380? Should that give out back to 378 where we bounced on Friday? We created these zones from Monday's price action, and they provided a great trade on Tuesday, pretty much the same trade on Friday. So let's see if we're going to try to hold above and keep pushing, or if we're going to dip back down to retest all these things. That's not the one I wanted. So yeah, pretty much all about that 381.5. I'd take a little dip there and then back above to keep going. Underneath that 381.5, then it starts to get that cascade waterfall back to the levels that we have been bouncing at. Basically the search to find buyers. But good hold here of 383. Nice spot to open. Nice spot to bounce and head back up. Basically going to be opening virtually flat or a tiny gap up. On to Tesla. Just still slipping lower. 112.5. My next key level. So let's see if it can hold there on a dip. If we could, let's say, dip down to 112.5 and get back over our open level, good sign to maybe go long on Tesla. She's very beat up, below third Keltner. Elon's been selling. Lots of negative selling pressure going on, but sometimes it doesn't take much to hold, shift, and break downtrend and start a little rally. If we lose that 112.5, next key target's cycle level 195. So let's see if that 112.5 can reverse us back up on Tesla. UVXY. It's been doing a great job of rejecting moving averages and heading back down. So for upside, looking for UVXY to stay below 7.25 where the daily 8 sits, get back below 7, and can continue down to last week's lows down on the bottom of this daily squeeze. But if we're going to potentially see the market roll back and retest where we were bouncing last week, then we'll likely see UVXY continue back or get above this 7.25, go up to try to test 7.5, 7.6 where the daily 21 sits. And we've got last week's highs to watch at like 7.8, 7.9 on VIX. VIX also, kind of muted last week. One good push, once we finally got down to 20. Excuse me. Once we got down to 20, fought back up to 24, and that daily 50, but then came back to settle underneath 22.5. So for upside today, I want to see us stay under 22.5, get back below 22, and start heading down to last week's lows. 21, 20.5, 20. That's for upside in the market. But if we're going to see some downside, we'll likely stay above this daily 8 at 21.75. Push off of this daily 21 and this 22. Get through 22.5 and work back up to last week's highs. To watch that 23.3, that 24 where the daily 50 sits. And the daily 200 now at 25.5. So if we do roll over, those are the upside targets for where VIX will get to. But that's it for prep today. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Sorry it was a little late. And let's finish out this last week of the year. I hope everybody has some great luck this week. Remember, wait for the trades that you want. Don't just take shots. And build that thesis, Overall, just to recap, and we'll go back to SPY. Oh, come on. Oh, man. I started getting like a cramp in my hand. So again, on SPY, the overall thesis... We are in a downtrend going into open. We want to play a continuation of that downtrend until we start to hold something like this 383 or 382. Then we can play long back to those MA clouds, maybe through them if we can get any upside. Otherwise, we're playing down, playing that continuation back to these key levels. So I'm going to get off here and I'll go type up kind of like my thesis for the day on SPY. I want to try to put together like a new format for what I call out in the room in text, with my trade plans and whatnot. So I'm going to test out that new format this week, and I'll basically be saying, looking for a hold at 382, looking for upside targets, 384, 385. Going to be watching those calls. Going to be playing the downtrend. So if we have a quick pop to MA clouds, I'm going to short down to pre-market lows back to fill the gap. into key levels, and then I'll be trying shots long to get through this downtrend and back to pre-market highs or through them. So keep an eye out in the room. Going to go put together that thesis so we all have it going into the day. But overall, thanks for tuning in, folks. Good luck today, this week. I will be around. Unless the price action is just very slow, very boring. In that case, I might just, take a couple of trades, call it a day, and go spend time with the family since all the kids are off school. But yeah, see you guys in the room today. Good luck. And remember, no beasts, no feasts.